Now at 10, we hear from some businesses in Cassville about how trout season keeps the town booming. Plus, the community of Arma, Kansas hosts a vegetable beef soup feed. And we have some tips to help you keep your poultry healthy as the bird flu continues to spread through Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
First responders in Webb City, Missouri evacuated a neighborhood last night because of a fast-moving grass fire. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Anthony Saviello. Fire crews responded to the Robin Ridge neighborhood around 11 p.m. as the fire was near Gene Hatfield Drive. Webb City police went door to door to evacuate residents as fire crews battled the blaze. No one was injured. A fence and the siding of one home were damaged. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire. A fire at a tire shop in east of Neosho, Missouri continues to burn days after initially sparking. The fire first appeared at Trouble-Free Used Tire along State Highway 86 late Thursday afternoon. It caused such a large plume of smoke it could reportedly be seen from Miami, Oklahoma and Bella Vista, Arkansas. Authorities believe it started from a grass fire nearby. Now they're warning residents the smoke and fire are still present but under control. The largest wildfire in Texas history is still burning, and while authorities hold out hope they can contain the Smokehouse Creek fire, the weather is not cooperating. A Texas A&M Forest Service spokesman spoke Saturday about the challenges firefighters are facing.
Texas in the Panhandle had a higher than average rain over the winter. And so there's a lot more grass, which we consider fuel. That's what's going to burn. So there's a lot of fuel on the ground. And when you add high winds and low humidity to high fuel load levels, that's when you get the conditions that are right for large, fast spreading wildfires.
The wildfire is to blame for at least 2 deaths and has destroyed hundreds of structures and charred more than 1 million homes. It's been pretty dry out there recently, but meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney says we might have some rain coming up.
So we have been dry, although we can see the humidity levels warming up. Now, speaking of fires, if you are worried about a fire developing, you're looking for humidity levels below 30%. Right now we're good as we see the rain start to roll in and the moisture start to pick up. However, when it's this darker brown or lighter brown color, that is where we're seeing pretty dry levels. In addition to that, you're also seeing these fast wind gusts. All weekend long we've had pretty dry conditions and fast wind gusts, which make it pretty good for fire to get started. And on top of that, in most of our area we do have pretty dry grassy areas, and even in some areas we see some severe drought levels. Now we have some rain moving in, and that's going to hopefully help with the drought conditions, and I'll bring you more details in just a bit.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Local runners today enjoyed the spring-like weather with a Joplin Memorial Run. Attendees were able to run the 5K, 10K, and half marathon courses throughout the Joplin area.
So I heard it was the last year they were doing it, and I needed an excuse to get out and, get in shape and actually do some physical activity. So hearing as it was the last one they were going to do, I figured I'd be a part of Joplin history and come out and participate as much as I can.
Officials say Joplin Memorial Run will only host one more run in May. Visit our website, koamnewsnow.com, for details about the courses and the rules of the run. Trout season is just starting in the state of Missouri. The season can see thousands of fishermen come out and try to get the catch of the day. KOAM's Samantha Walker tells us more about how the increase of tourism impacts local business.
I've been here pretty consistently about every year.
Roaring River is busy with fishermen behind me, and for local business owners, they say so far it's one of the busiest seasons yet.
Fishermen from all around are finding their way to Roaring River State Park in Cassville for trout season. For Tim Holmesley, fishing is a passion. He has owned Tim's Fly Shop outside of the park for roughly 30 years.
Roaring River in general is a big boom for Cassville. I would say half of the places around here pretty much survive on the summer income.
Tim says he has more customers every year.
But I opened at 8 and there was 4 cars waiting for me.
Even new business owners can see the impact of trout season.
I actually missed this last year by the time I acquired this place, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It is fantastic to see all these new faces and everybody around. It's a lot of fun.
Fishermen say it's great to be able to help support the local economy.
It's great to help your local community out. It's just good to be out there with them and, supporting them.
Tim says he enjoys being able to see all the people getting into fishing for the first time. And his shop is known amongst fishermen, even by those who have never visited.
He always tells kind of what colors are in season this time of year. He's very informative on that portion of it.
In Cassville, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Trout season at Roaring River Park goes until October 31st. To fish at the park, you need a fishing permit and a daily trout tag. The community of Arma hosted today an inaugural vegetable beef soup feed. The purpose of the event was to help support the Arma Golden Era Senior and Community Center. Attendees were able to enjoy some soup and choose from a variety of homemade desserts.
We want them to know that they need to support an activity like this so that they have a place to come and gather. Arma is lacking a little bit of spots to be able to have family gatherings and social events. So by supporting this, then they support a community building so that they have a place to go.
The event had more than 20 sponsors. The community center is also planning for a pop-up shop on April 20th. The Pittsburgh State University Chorale Ensembles held its spring concert today. The program included a variety of music from the PSU Choir, the Chorale, and the Tour Choir, and special guest oboist Ann Knipschild. The choirs were directed by Professor Susan Marchant, and the concert was free and open to the community. Coming up, we'll hear from Missourians reacting to yesterday's Republican caucus results. Plus, Donald Trump tries to buy more time to appeal in his civil defamation case involving writer E. Jean Carroll. Yesterday, Missouri Republicans nominated former President Donald Trump to carry the party banner into the November election. Trump won a clean sweep, claiming all the delegates in Saturday's caucuses. Mark Maxwell has more.
Nearly 1,000 Republicans packed the Parkway West High School gym to measure their support for either Donald Trump or Nikki Haley. In the end, they delivered Donald Trump a resounding victory. While Nikki Haley's backers were outnumbered, they were also outspoken.
This is not the Republican Party. MAGA is not.
Phil Schrader led a crowded gym of Republicans in singing the national anthem, but he couldn't bring himself to support Donald Trump.
I want to support Nikki Haley to get things back on track. I'll get my Republican Party back.
How do you feel her chances are in a room like this?
Pretty slim to none.
He was right. She lost in a landslide. The woman who nominated Nikki Haley was shouted down in a chorus of boos.
We now have Donald Trump working for Putin.
Oh, come on.
Trump's been married 3 times, cheated on now his wife, and so
At a separate caucus site at the University of Missouri St. Louis, others weren't quite as comfortable making public declarations of political support.
I'd be more comfortable with the secret ballot, but I'm happy to do this as well.
At both locations, Trump supporters brushed off concerns about his brash style or legal baggage.
I want somebody that's going to be authoritative. I want somebody that's going to push back.
These caucus sites are teeming with energized voters looking to connect with candidates.
My name's Will Scharf. I'm a candidate for Missouri Attorney General. I'm also a member of President Trump's legal team.
An aide to former Governor Eric Greitens is now defending Trump from federal felony charges of conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding on January 6th.
We think our arguments for presidential immunity are very, very strong, and clearly the Supreme Court thinks that they're at least worthy of very serious consideration.
Whether or not Trump goes on trial, Missouri Republicans hope to see him have one last day in the court of public opinion.
The Missouri Republican caucuses wasn't the only contest Trump is projected to have won on Saturday. He was also projected to have defeated Haley in the Idaho Republican caucuses. Trump also formally picked up all of the delegates that were at stake at the Michigan Republican convention. Former President Trump is accusing E. Jean Carroll of being inconsistent with her position about his wealth. That's according to a new court filing as he continues to try to delay posting the $83 million judgment from the civil defamation case. Thursday, E. Jean Carroll told the judge overseeing the case that Trump should not be given more time in posting the money she was awarded. Her attorneys called Trump the, quote, least trustworthy of borrowers. Israel's military says its troops eliminated more than 100 militants in the Gaza Strip. The army also says dozens of militants were arrested and hundreds of launch pits and launchers were destroyed. This as talks are underway in Cairo, Egypt to broker a truce between Israel and Hamas before the start of Ramadan, which starts in a week. International mediators are hoping a ceasefire will bring an end to the fighting or at least suspend the hostilities and free some of the remaining Israeli hostages. A little later, experts share some tips to keep your backyard flock safe from bird flu.
And after the break, we will talk all about the rain chances we see next week. Well, this is the end to a pretty gorgeous weekend that we had. Tonight, we still are seeing warm temperatures. Winds are fast and clouds do roll in, but temperatures are still pretty nice out there at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Camera. Nice place to go. And today we actually matched a record set back in 1983 with our high being 81 degrees. So like I said, today was really warm. It was gorgeous. I was outside all morning with my dogs. It was a great day. Just in time for some rain to start moving in on Monday morning. So we have a system north of us making its way in, but we're also pulling moisture from the Gulf. So that's what's giving us all of these days of rain. Now, tonight, it's still going to be windy. Clouds do start to increase as the rain potential starts to roll in later morning on Monday. Winds are slower than what they were today, only gusting up to about 30-35 miles per hour. But our low tonight is 60 degrees, so it is still pretty warm. Now, we do see a low risk for storms, severe storms, as we move into tomorrow evening. And as of right now, we don't see any of those storms popping up. However, due to the instability at the surface, if these storms get organized, we could see some elevated risk for that. Now, the main threats that we're seeing if these storms do organize is wind and hail. Likely we won't see much else, just some thunderstorms. Now, rain showers start to roll in 10 a.m. Monday, pretty light. I know yesterday we were seeing them heavier. They are scattered right now. And as we move into the evening hours, we don't see those storms quite yet. But if you look just northeast of Springfield is where we're seeing these storms get organized right along this front. Now that front still rolls through our area. So if they do get organized, we could see some storms start to spark up moving into Monday evening. Now, we also see some showers roll in around Wednesday early morning, possibly a thunderstorm here or there, but those are short-lived as well. Now, moving into Thursday, that is where we're going to see our heaviest continuous rainfall moving in late Wednesday evening after midnight when the entire area gets it, picking up as we move into the early hours on Thursday and then continuing through Thursday night, Friday morning. Friday is where we're going to see most likely those thunderstorms pop up in our southeastern counties, but like I said, pretty consistent rainfall through Thursday and Friday. That's where we're going to get our heaviest amounts of rain, possibly seeing about a ½ an inch of rain on Thursday and on Friday. Now, rain chances all of the week long, heaviest rain Thursday, Friday, and then by the weekend, sun comes back out and temperatures warm back up for another sunny stretch next weekend.
Much needed rain.
Much needed rain. We are still experiencing some drought conditions, so it's good that we're going to have all this rain come through this week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay. The Missouri Department of Agriculture recently had to handle 4 incidents of avian flu outbreaks in the Springfield area. The department did not say how many turkeys or chickens were destroyed. Nicolette Zangara explains how you can protect your backyard flocks from this highly contagious disease.
Avian influenza is a virus that is going through wild waterfowl in the United States right now, and unfortunately it's impacted almost every state.
The Department of Agriculture has been dealing with this since 2022. Right now, the biggest concern is wild waterfowl, like ducks, geese, and birds interacting with flocks on farms.
Try to protect all of your flock from wildlife. So not just the wild waterfowl, but skunks, raccoons, possums, because they might be tracking the virus into your flock as well.
I have not heard any stories locally. We never have had issues, and we've had a small flock for years.
Ben Russell and his family have owned chickens for more than 5 years. He says when buying chicks, there are several precautions you can take.
When you buy chicks from a store, generally they may have their shots, or they already have prevention there. When you buy your feed, it's medicated feed, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
When adding birds to your farm family, you want to make sure sanitization is a big priority. Not only should your hands be clean, but as well as the feed and the equipment, anything that's going to interact with these birds needs to be clean.
We also want to encourage you to limit visitors to your farm at this time, because that's another way that you can track that virus into your flock unintentionally.
Chin says there is no concern of farm-to-farm spread, nor is there any risk of contamination to eggs or raw chicken.
Coming up in sports, we take a look at this week's basketball matchups ahead of the MIAA tournament. Plus, a Missouri Southern baseball player breaks the all-time hits record. Brock Baldridge brings us more highlights and more.
Well, it was 1 year ago that the two women's basketball rivals met in the opening round of the MIAA tournament. And 1 year later, it's the same story with the same two teams. It's deja vu as Pitt State and Missouri Southern meet once again. It's the third meeting this year that these two teams have met. Each team split the regular season series. Southern won at Pitt State in January, and the Gorillas won on Southern's home court in mid-February. And just like last year, the two teams are set to square off once again in the opening round of the MIAA tournament in Kansas City. So here we go again. The 4-seed Missouri Southern faces the 5-seed Pitt State. The game is scheduled for Friday at noon at Municipal Auditorium in downtown Kansas City. We'll provide coverage all week long from Kansas City and get you the latest from both local teams. On the men's side of the bracket, the Pitt State men's basketball team is the 3-seed. The men are coming off of a double overtime win against Missouri Western on Saturday. The Gorillas will face Central Oklahoma. That game is scheduled for Friday at 8:15. The Missouri Southern men's basketball team will be one of the first handful of teams to arrive in Kansas City. The Lions are set to face the Missouri Western Griffins in the opening round of the MIAA tournament. That game is scheduled for Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Well, the Pitt State baseball team wraps up their first home conference series of the season. The Gorillas won the first two games of the series, and now the Gorillas look to go for the sweep on Sunday. Gorillas at home on a windy Sunday, taking on the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats. We begin in the bottom of the second. Pitt State leads 2-0. Joe Hamilton with the green light on a 3-0 count. Hammers this to right field, and that ball hits the base of the wall out there. It's a stand-up 2-run triple. Pitt State leads 4-0. Next batter to the plate, Austin Warkins sends a line drive into center field. Hamilton will score easily. Gorillas extend their lead, 5-0 ball game. Bottom of the third now, Cade Clemens goes to opposite field, and on a windy day like today, that ball easily clears the wall out there in right field. It's a solo home run. Pitt State takes a 6-0 lead. Next batter to the plate, Nixon Brandon belts one deep to center field, and that ball's going to land out there in the shrubs. Back-to-back home runs for the Gorillas. Pitt State goes on to win the game 12-3. The Gorillas sweep the series. During the baseball game, the Pitt State softball team was in action on Sunday afternoon. The Gorillas continue to stay hot as PSU wins game 1 8-0. Then they win game 2 7-4. Pitt State hits the road on Tuesday at Arkansas Tech. In Joplin, the Missouri Southern Lions also aiming for a sweep. The Lions facing Newman on Sunday afternoon. We pick things up in the bottom of the fourth. Southern trails 4-1. Wyatt Morgan, take a good look. You won't see this one for long. Solo home run, cuts the lead in half. Newman still leads 4-2. Later in the inning, Nate Miskowski sends a liner into the gap. The outfielders are scrambling for the baseball out there. Garrett Rice will come in to slap home plate. Southern trails 4-3. Still in the fourth, Henry Kuziak ties the game with an RBI single. And that hit is significant because Kuziak becomes the all-time hits leader in Missouri Southern history, and what a career he has had. Standing ovation as he should. But that means nothing if you don't win the game, right? Well, the game is tied 7-7, bottom of the 8th inning. Tragan Parker hits this well into center field, just stays in the ballpark, 2 runs coming to score. Break out the brooms. Missouri Southern wins the game 11-9. Lions sweep Newman in the series.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't thinking about it. I was trying to get a hit. We were down and we needed another run. So that's all I was thinking about. But once I got to first and Tuck kind of gave me a look, the game stopped. I was like, dang, it's been a while, right? I've been here a while. I mean, I left a mark here, and I hope that it's not only in the history books. I hope it's I hope I teach the young guys how to lead, how to play, and it's more than just that.
There's your Looking for Sports. We're back after this.
Well, it has been dry all weekend, like you've been saying, but we're expecting some rain.
Quite a lot of rain throughout the week. Now, the first couple of days, just some scattered showers here and there, but as we move into Wednesday night and through Friday, it's going to be pretty heavy rain, possibly some thunderstorms.
Yeah, much needed rain. And a big weekend coming up for our local schools.
Yeah, you know, MIAA tournament this weekend. Lots of great basketball games. I'll be out there all week in Kansas City covering all of our local schools, so it should be exciting. And how about Henry Kuziak today from the Missouri Southern Lions? 258 career hits. And that record has stood since 1992.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to break that one.
Absolutely,
that's for sure. Well, that is all our time for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. From all of us here at KOAM, have a great night.